They square off. Jaques has him in a headlock. Jaques trying to wrestle him down to the ice. And then an overhand right by Bezeau, not there, and then Jaques takes him down. And really, that was more of a wrestling match than anything. But I think at this point, Steve Jaques saying, hey, I got to get something positive for my hockey club at this point.
Well, sure, Steve Jaques is that type of a team guy that he knows things aren't going well, and if he can drop the gloves with someone that wants to drop the gloves, and obviously if Bezeau wanted to, that's fine.
You know, as I try to come up with an analogy of Steve Jaques, he's like Superman. Clark Kent, but when he's on the ice, he's like Superman. And we'll talk more about that when we return. It's 6-1 Fort Wayne. This is UPN Saturday Night on Ice. Jaques and John Craighead. This is the first fight with Jaques this year. Jaques giving it, trying to get in there with Craighead. He's got a left free. Jaques trying to fire back. Craighead with a big left hand, another left, and another left by Craighead, but Jaques comes back with another. So the southpaw is going at it. Then another big right hand by Craighead. Wow, Craighead going to the head of Jaques. Jaques got a couple in there, but wow, John Craighead pretty well had his way with Jaques on that one, but I'll give a lot of credit for Jaques hanging in there. He got a few rights and lefts in himself. But
well, I think what happened is Craighead got a hold of the jersey and he just kept spinning Jaques, and Jaques could never get his feet. And as you can never, when you can't get your feet, you just keep spinning around in a circle. And Jaques not able to get his footing, and that's one thing about hockey fights that people don't realize. It's the player with the best balance that wins the fights usually, not the player that's usually the toughest. And right there, I think Craighead had more balance because he had the first grab on Jaques, and Jaques just could never get his footing.
Also looks like he got about 6 inches and 25 pounds on him. I don't know, but
well, Craighead is a big, strong player, but I think you match those guys up in another situation, the outcome might be a lot different.
I'm not sure Jake wants to do that right now, though.
No, he went off the ice and went to the locker room, and I'm not sure what the story is with Steve Jaques. We'll see how it started, Greener.
Well, I tell you what, you have, like I said, frustrations are going to start to mount for both teams.
By Carl Valamont, and it's turned away by Jaques and pushed to the near side for Fiorentino. We're going to get Jaques going with Lakovic. Oh boy, here's Lakovic going after Jaques, spun him off. Jaques trying to hold tight in there, and then Lakovic wrestles him down. Wow. Jaques, he got kind of turned around a little bit there, and Lakovic just wrestled him down to the ice.
Well, Lakovic comes at him at full speed, and when someone comes at you, he tried to get out of the way, but yeah, you're right, he did. He got spun around on the play, and then Lakovic had the advantage of position on him, and Jaques and Lakovic will both go to the box, but the thing is, in the corner, they're giving each other a couple of shots, and away they go. And as you saw earlier during the player, is they both take a couple of haymakers at each other, and eventually Lakovic will throw Jaques to the ice as the helmet comes off, and they'll both go to the box. So haymaker city there, but no one really connected.
Steve Jaques had his penalty string snapped against Cincinnati on Thursday. He had 12 straight games with a minor, and that is now superseded by a major. But go to Connor, trying to jam it down, and it shot the length of the ice. Boy, I'll tell you what, the Arrows, if they could light the lamp behind Mikalev, I guess you call it Mikalev light. And now we've got a fight breaking out at center ice between Jaques and who is
Dave Maley.
Well, you remember Dave Maley in the game at Houston. He got into it a little bit, and finally the linesmen separated. While we sort this out, we have a timeout on the ice. 7:49 to go in the first period. It's the Arrows nothing, the Spiders nothing. Back to the Cal Palace after this.
Step up on the read, brought back in by Jaques. His shot blocked into the glove of Rivnak. And now Jaques takes a cut at Sabourin.
Boy, did he ever. He took on the biggest Milwaukee Admiral, spun around and drifted him with 2 straight lefts. And Sabourin smartly, with the 7-5 lead, just turned around and skated away from him.
Jaques has 51 penalty minutes, the most on this Houston team. And that may have been just frustration. Our Bud Ice Draft scoreboard. There you see Denver now has taken a lead at home in Las Vegas by a score of 5-2.
the wall is going to come out with everything it has as early as possible to try to establish themselves. That's what Houston has done.
Play is on, and the nice. Oh, here we go. Steve Fletcher's going to go with Steve Jaques.
See, Dan, I got to tell you, you know something that I really miss in junior hockey, and that is in junior, when two tough guys square off, the gloves come down and the helmets come off, too. Here's a couple of good blows going back and back. Toe-to-toe. Fletcher seems to have the upper hand now, but all he's hitting is the back of the helmet. He's got Jaques pretty well tied up, and Fletcher has thrown the majority of the punches here, folks, and Jaques has come back with a couple, but basically they've hit a lot of shoulder pads and a lot of helmets, and now Jaques wrestles to the ice, and Fletcher at this point will let go. But I tell you, I miss watching the guys drop their gloves and their helmets and going at it.
Steve Jaques and Steve Fletcher at 15 seconds of the second period. Pretty much.
Here's a puck controlled by Houston. It is Jaques trying to work one down. Jammed by Craighead back into the arrow zone, and Balamont gallops back to play it. Now we've got Jaques going to fight again. Who's he going with this time? Is it Maley again? No, Maley's in the box. So it is Bilodeau this time, and Jaques. And those two have had their bouts from their junior days when Bilodeau played for the Seattle Thunderbirds and Jaques with the Tri-City Americans. Jaques with an overhand left. Bilodeau, not really known for his fighting. He's a big 6'4" kid, but he's not much of a fighter, but handling himself pretty well here. Jaques roaring back with a left, trying to lock Bilodeau. Jaques giving up about 3 inches, 4 inches on Brent Bilodeau. And the linesmen get in there.
So you see the emotions already in this game. It's the first period, and you already see both teams definitely into this game. Last game it was a little rough as well at the Summit, and it was a 3-2 win for the Arrows in a shootout. So any close game like that usually finds a little bit of rough stuff. And along the board, you see it as Jaques gives Bilodeau a couple extra on the side, and then Bilodeau comes after him, and Jaques says, hey, wait a second. And he gets back in there, and then they start going it. The linesman tried to get in there, but he made the right decision and stepped back. Otherwise, he'd have caught it right then on left.
And see, you know, that's a classic, that's a great replay right there. We get a lot of calls about people that don't understand why the linesman let him fight. And that's a great end of the night. 4-0 Houston. Wolves have the puck. They'll scamper to center. We're going to get a fight between Greg Walters and Steve Jaques. Wolves bring it down, and we finally get a whistle. And here's Walters moving in on Jaques. Jaques firing back. Walters with a right hand. Walters firing back at Jaques. And what a heavyweight bout going on now. I think Walters got 1 or 2 extras in there, but Steve Jaques fired back with some of his own. And a really good bout between Greg Walters and Steve Jaques.
Well, I don't know what precipitated that, but Walters and Jaques go at it pretty good, and no matter which way you look at it, it does get the Chicago fans going a little bit. But Steve Jaques, playing in his 300th game, 300th pro game, wants to get into a little bout to remember it by, and he does so with Walters.
Well, I have a feeling if the score remains the way it is, this thing is going to get ugly.
Well, it could get a little rougher, and as you see, both of them, no one surprised each other. I think they something might have happened earlier on in the shift that really wanted to get into it, and they did it with style and dropped it right in the right off the bat.
I don't know what's going on here, but the crowd is getting into something here. I don't know. They're showing the bout here, that punch.
Well, they keep forwarding it and reversing it. I think the video guy might be having trouble with his machine there.
Yeah. It's the button that says play. Even I know that. Joyce with 1:10 to go in the game and 46 seconds left to Conroy. Puck is knocked away, and we're going to get a fight as Duncanson and Jaques look at each other. Here we go. Duncanson and Jaques. Jaques trying to get in there. Duncanson's got him locked up, and then Jaques missed with a right, and a big uppercut may have scored for Duncanson. Clutching and grabbing going on now. And then an overhand right by Jaques may have scored. Duncanson trying to get one free. There's a big right by Jaques that may have clipped a little bit of Duncanson, and then down they go.
Well, this is just the beginning of probably what you'll see tomorrow night, Adam, in the arena in Orlando, as Duncanson and Jaques go at it, get rid of a few frustrations. Hey, that's probably why a lot of these fans stayed around, as you see a lot of them standing to get a better view at the festivities on the ice.
I'd say of the 12,000, there's still about 5,000 or 6,000 still here.
This is how the fight started in front of the net. Jaques giving a little face wash to Duncanson, and Duncanson punches him, and there they go, and definitely instigated by Jaques, and Duncanson finally goes, okay, we'll dance, and they do. Hey, it's dance night. It's a Aero Stock 2, and so as our theme was maybe a little bit of a dance, we see a couple.
He's got 2 tonight with Slivchenko. Slivchenko right in, hit the crossbar, and a penalty coming up, and Slivchenko is down as he was drilled, and now Jaques wants to go with Werenka. Jaques and Werenka are going to fight as Slivchenko is not getting up right now. And then Werenka dumps Jaques to the ice, and the linesmen get in there.
I'm not sure what happened on that play, but it was after the shot had been made, and I think obviously Slivchenko off balance getting in there as he was being held up a bit on the play, but I believe he was thrown into the boards after that one, and he is slow to get up as Jaques and Werenka go at it at center ice.
Well, they'll get 5-minute majors each, and Werenka, I don't know if he tore his jersey or not, but off they go, Jaques and Werenka. Slivchenko very slow to get up, but he looks okay. He's going to get up under his own power as Jerry Mines helped him out. Slivchenko hitting at his block. Jaques right side lets one go. That's kicked away. Another shot returned and intercepted by Robitaille. And now we've got Jaques. He wants to go with Lecompte. Jaques and Lecompte going at it. Jaques trying to throw a big stiff right hand. Knocked him back into next Wednesday, but Lecompte roaring back. Jaques trying to get in there. Lecompte trying to fire back. Jaques with another uppercut. Jaques with another right hand. Another right. Another right. Oh, man. Who said he's a defenseman? He's more right wing. Well, not even a liberal. He let that right wing fly. And it was cranking nothing but the side of the head of Eric Lecompte.
Well, that fight was definitely lopsided. You look at the size of Eric Lecompte. He's a big man, 6'4", 215. And Steve Jaques giving up size and reach doesn't give up the tenacity in a fight. You know, they say it's not always the size of the dog in the fight. It's sometimes the size of the fight in the dog. And the old right hand came out as Lecompte took a feeding right there by Steve Jaques.
Oh, the plight of the right tonight on the head of Eric Lecompte. Lecompte hung in there, but Steve Jaques. Whoa!
And I'm having a look at it as Steve Jaques and Lecompte were just going at it and giving him a little bit of something to taste as Steve Jaques. Like I said, that fight a little bit lopsided, but hopefully the Arrows won't get any lopsided call on this one.
Well, the crowd, you can hear them. They're showing the replay up on the summit screen, and the crowd getting into it. Maybe one of the best fights for an Arrow this year. The shot came on, score! Yep, exactly. I've got this new thing for the left wing lock. Now Jaques is going to go with Patrick Cote. Cote's second fight. Here's Jaques trying to roar back. He missed with a right, but this right connects. Jaques on Cote. But Cote fired back with a right. Stiff right hand. Jaques with the left. Jaques with another left. A big left hand by Jaques, and then Cote tossed him down. Cote threw Jaques down after Jaques had cleaned him with a left hand, but Cote had a couple of stiff rights.
Well, it's funny, you know, Steve Jaques on March 29th against Cleveland had a goal, an assist, but he didn't have a fight, which means he didn't have what we called a Gordie Howe hat trick, but that man he was fighting, Cote, already had the fight, the goal, and an assist tonight, so already with the Gordie Howe hat trick, something we like to laugh about.
All right, timeout on the ice. We'll sort out the penalties after this. 5-0 K-Wings.